Hello, and right now we're joined by Hans Hartman of Suite 48A, who runs with his partner, Alexi Girard, the Visual1st conference. And Hans is here to talk to us right now about the Metaverse, which has been in the news. Hans, what is the Metaverse and why should we care?
That's an incredibly difficult question. The point is that there's a lot of different opinions about what the metaverse is, but to me, it is at least an immersive kind of experience, a digital experience where you feel you're in a different area where you can connect, you can play games, you can even do business there, but it's a digital immersive space. Now, some people go pretty far in that to say, hey, it requires even headsets, and others say, hey, it's just in a browser instead of being in a completely 2D environment, you're in a 3D environment. You're in that environment. It's not that much different from a Zoom call, which is like a 2D video kind of experience, but it's a step up towards feeling you are really connected with the people that you are connecting with. So it's a way of connecting.
That doesn't sound radically different than Second Life 15 years ago or whenever that was. So why now? What, other than the fact some pretty big names have endorsed the idea and even renamed their companies to reflect the metaverse? Is it the technology? What is it?
To be frank, Facebook, who is then renamed as Meta, they did an incredibly big push and brought together a lot of other vendors who have been doing initiatives in the AR and in particular in the VR world also. But they're definitely not the only ones. You see Microsoft, you see Google, Snapchat has done a lot of things on the AR side of things. They don't call them metaverse, but there are a lot of initiatives that were already more towards people digitally connecting in different ways. And of course, we all know during the COVID era, we all got more used to doing things digitally, including, in our own case with our conference, instead of meeting in person. We enable people through a video stream to connect that way and even do some networking that way. So you see, people gotten a lot more used to digitally connecting. That's number one. And number two, Facebook, for whatever reason, they already had all kind of 3D initiatives. They really made a big push because they wanted to show more what they are all about in going forward in long term.
So, but the business case for the metaverse, using that as a generic term, not specifically Facebook's iteration of it, hasn't really made a lot of headway because there's hardware involved, because there's pretty steep hardware requirements on a PC or something like that. Now, I think that's going away to some extent. People are becoming more comfortable with headwear of some sort. But I'm other than advertising and selling subscriptions, what is the business case?
Well, that's also a very difficult question. But it's almost a nonsensical, and I don't mean that in a negative sense there, but it's almost a nonsensical question, because what's the business case of the internet, right? The internet also enables people to check out things, view things, connect things, subscribe to things, buy things, etc. And all of that stuff will happen in some version in a metaverse also, but you feel more there. There are more benefits. It goes a step further towards really, understanding what's going on there. You can collaborate better. You can check out artwork better. You can play games better that way than just a 2D kind of environment as we currently have at the internet. So there are a lot of different use cases. And of course, where you and I are coming from is how does that then matter to folks who are already, developing solutions for photos and videos? It is an obvious. That's really why we said, hey, we need to put on an event that we can brainstorm about that. But I think the key thing, whatever way you define the metaverse, And whatever way you look at what's happening there, the basic thing about the metaverse, it's all about visuals. It's all about photo and video. So if you are in a business that creates video or enables users to create better photos and videos, that metaverse is going to matter in some fashion, to be determined how, but it definitely is going to be very important for your business. Mm-hmm. Even if you are in a business of selling printed versions of photos, it's also going to matter. If you are a camera vendor and you capture photos and visuals, it's, the metaverse is all about visuals. And in all the hype and all the noise and the 3D game headsets, people tend to forget it is all about photos and videos, and whether it's 2D or 3D, that's to be determined, and it's going to be both. But anyways, that's why it really matters for our industry in some fashion, and it will take a long time before we all realize how it will matter and how we can chime in. But we wanted to have an early discussion now that there is so much attention and there's so much money, investment money flowing into this whole metaverse development. This is the time to really think through how that's going to impact your business.
So in terms of timing, you've got an event coming up in mid-March that will probably serve as an entree for a lot of people among our listenership to learn more about the metaverse. Can you share more about your Spotlight event on March 15th?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's, I think most of your audience know we have Visual1st, which is an annual conference typically held in October. And that's a longer conference. It's 2 days or even 3 days last year. Traditionally, that has been held in person. The last 2 years, we've done it virtually, but it's a longer event. So the idea of Spotlight events is to do, zoom in on a single topic, make it very short, hour and a half, and have it streamed. So everybody from anywhere in the world can attend there.
Are headsets required?
No.
Okay, good. Okay.
Internet connectivity, yes. Travel, no. But, there's actually the interesting thing with the streaming service that we used last year, and you have also used in your event there, is a very interesting one, because it's sort of like Zoom, but then there are elements that makes you feel, hey, you know what, it's a little bit more immersive than a straightforward Zoom event. For instance, there's sort of a networking possibility. So if your video avatar has sort of like a live feed of you in a circle, if that is close to somebody else, you guys, the two people can hear each other very well. If you're farther removed in the room, that sound level will go down. And ultimately, if somebody's on the other side of the room, you cannot hear them, they cannot hear you. Which is a great, it's an initial baby step towards feeling that digital experience is more like real life, and it's more immersive than a straightforward Zoom call. And the other thing, it's such a probably easy to create technical feature, but I think it is so, you feel so much more like it is in an in-person conference, is the idea that you can, at the bottom there is a button that you can click an emoji. And it could be a clapping hand or a thumbs up kind of thing. So what we've seen during our conference is, somebody really made a very smart remark during a session or a panel. You got all these emoticons flying up in the air. Yeah. And the smarter comment was made during the conference, the more of that. It's like a virtual applause. And it really felt, there is some interaction going on between the audience.
We'll continue to use that platform, Share Me Chat, for the time being. But going forward on the program itself, you have a very compressed education schedule but it's kind of action-packed with some high-powered people. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'm very, very pleased with the speaker lineup. So we have a fireside chat presenter, and that's Eric Chang. He's head of immersive at Meta, formerly Facebook. He spoke, everybody, I encourage them to read his bio. It's absolutely fabulous, his background. He's a very talented photographer. He is sort of Mr. Underwater photographer in the US, has a great following there. He had a website, Get Pixels, that's very well known, so he knows underwater photographer. Then he was very instrumental in putting DJI on the map with drone photography. So it was with DJI, spoke also at our Visual1st conference. And then now he has been very instrumental with Facebook or Meta for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe even, in really, helping Meta to get their heads around 3D, sharing 3D information and content. So he is our fireside chat presenter. He will also participate in the panel, because in the panel, where I can go through the other speakers, but basically there we want to address the question. So what's in the metaverse for me as an industry player in the photo and video industry, and what could the metaverse actually how could it leverage what we have? So there we will have a discussion about the quote unquote traditional photo and video industry and the metaverse. So quickly through it, we also have Alex Khoury from Adobe. So he is in the division that is really all about 3D tools, because 3D is very, very important for the metaverse. So we will talk about their tool and their vision of how to connect the Adobe 3D applications to the more traditional 2D, like Illustrator and Photoshop kind of world. So he's doing initiatives also within Adobe. Another fabulous speaker is Justin Melillo from Mona Gallery. So they actually develop metaverse spaces. And he was with Magic Leap in the past, and also with DreamWorks Animation. So he's really a movie creation kind of creative professional, and so they have a solution for how to create metaverses. Mm-hmm. And then the fourth speaker in the panel is Kirby Winfield. He is a venture capitalist for a really early stage company. So he will look at that more from a business perspective. So what's real? How can you eventually make money? And why would I invest in these kind of things? On top of that, I don't want to go through the entire program, but we also have 4 show and tell presenters who come from very distinctly different areas, and they will demo their solutions online as well.
Talk a little bit about when it is, what time it is during the day, and how do you get more information and possibly sign up to attend?
So it's March 15th. It's between 8 a.m. and 9:30 Pacific time. So everybody can translate it into their own time zone there. And there's more information on visual1st.biz/metaverse. So that's where we have the program, and that's where you can buy tickets. Tickets are very inexpensive because we really want everybody to sort of try this out and participate.
Well, thank you, Hans, for your time and for sharing, and look forward to seeing you virtually on March 15th.
Likewise.